and welcome to this episode of Up Close and Personal Season 2 at InvokED Studio.
You have to say my name is Ariel.
Like here and then there. My name is Ariel.
And my name is Alex.
From Bach Bros Studios.
So with that, I keep forgetting your name.
Leaders are people that we look up to. I think they're people that bring out the best in those around them. And I think that there are people that we can put a lot of trust in.
Today, we are going to meet with Miss Shruti Shibulal, who is the CEO and Director of Tamara Leisure Experiences.
So with that, let us welcome Miss Shibulal.
Hi, so nice to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So, what do you think leadership means to you, and what are the qualities you think that make a good leader?
So I think leaders are people that we look up to. I think they're people that bring out the best in those around them. And I think that there are people that we can put a lot of trust in, that they are going to move us all together forward as a team, and really bring all of us together cohesively and be able to bring us together in a united way so that we can have movements of great power or actions of great power, whatever it is, that whatever is happening is moving forward. So I think leaders are those people that are really at the forefront. They bring out the best and they guide us towards a point maybe out there that we may not have been able to achieve without them.
How do you use technology in your hotels to make them better for your guests and at the same time for the planet?
So I run an organization called Tamara Leisure Experiences, and we operate hotels across South India. We use technology in a lot of different ways, but the ways that I think are the most interesting are the ways that actually our guests don't see. So one of the innovations that we have done is that any employee in any of our properties can take a photograph and load it onto our internal system. And that photo, let's say it's like, you saw a crack in the wall or something like that, right? Like a small crack in the paint. So that picture, it'll go to the maintenance person who needs to take care of it. That person is able to complete it and then load the photo of the completed job. And this happens very seamlessly. So guests don't even know, right? And it could be any sort of issue that's happening across the property. So our properties look beautiful. They look maintained. And everybody is part of that process, right? It's not like you have one or two like maintenance people around the whole property who are responsible to take care of it. It's that everyone who works there has ownership over the hotel and making sure that it looks beautiful for our guests.
So all the employees play a part, no matter what their role is?
Exactly. It's a very inclusive, democratic place, I would say. Like my whole goal has been, how can you democratizing technology so that everyone can use it and everyone can have a role to play in how our guests ultimately experience our hotels.
What is the biggest challenge in running a hotel that is also good for the community?
Oh, so the thing that most of us will say in the industry is the most difficult thing about being in the hotel industry is that we don't have enough good people to work with. So not that many people are coming into the hotel industry, but the industry itself is growing significantly. So we need more people. So one of the things that we do is that we have a very strong mandate that we will hire most of our people from the local community. So what that means is, one, we create economy and through that community that we've brought in, so they're earning money. We also work with local vendors, for instance, so that they're also earning money. But what that also leads is that these employees who are from the local community are able to give our guests a very authentic experience of that place, right? So it's not like, you boys live in New York and let's say we took that hotel and we implanted it in Bangalore. If the people are not different, then you're not getting, you end up getting the same experience, really, right? So in our hotels, you can't just take a hotel and put it somewhere else. That local community and even local architecture and things like that, those local elements, local food that we're able to provide because we have local community, those are the things that really make the experience very special.
What is the most interesting thing you've learned about hospitality and helping others?
And helping others. So, the thing that I love about hospitality is, and I actually started in the restaurant business before I got into hotels, is you get this feeling of instant gratification, which is like when let's say you're serving a dish on a table, you fairly quickly know if your guest has enjoyed that meal or not, right? So the guest takes a bite and you can see it in their face, have they enjoyed it or not. So I love that part, right? And everyone who works in this industry actually has this attitude of wanting to be of service, right? And actually, people say that the hospitality industry is maybe one of the hardest industries to work in. But those who work in it, they love it. And if you don't love it, you can't work in it. And so what we end up being is, as hoteliers and restaurateurs, we are of service. And so everything that we do is really in service of the people around us. And it's a very people-focused industry, right? So another part of what I love about the industry is that you get people who are entering it from every socioeconomic background, which is quite rare, right? And especially like in a city like Bangalore, for instance, like we have a lot of very educated professionals who are working in the IT industry. But in hospitality, for instance, you have people who are maybe the first in their families to enter the organized sector. And so when you are seeing people from all kinds of backgrounds, all kinds of geographies, it becomes a very diverse place, and you end up helping people, of course, of all of those communities, and you're able to serve your guests in a really well-rounded way as well.
How do you choose which causes to support through your foundations?
So our foundations are really run by my parents, and they are deeply passionate about education. And so that's how our journey in philanthropy started. And most of our initiatives have been around education. When I was growing up, I was exposed a lot to the foundation and the work that was happening. And one of the things that we were doing in education was that we were serving a very disadvantaged population, but we were serving those who were doing very well in school. And I entered the hospitality industry, and I'm surrounded by people who didn't necessarily do very well in school. And I was realizing that it really, doing well in school didn't necessarily translate to doing well in hospitality either. What you need to be in my industry is to have this, this attitude that I was talking about, this attitude towards service and really a desire to want to serve and help people around you. And that is not correlated to education necessarily. So the initiative that I run within the foundation is around skilling. So what we do is we identify young people who are from disadvantaged backgrounds. We skill them, we uplift them with, how can you, be in food and beverage services, or how can you be in housekeeping? We give them those skills, and then we ensure that they're placed in really good hotels where they're employed well. And then we advocate for them because they come from disadvantaged backgrounds. They may not know how best to, let's say, negotiate their salaries or take advantage of their benefits. So we act as those people who really make sure that they're treated very well. And we work, a lot with the hotels. So this has become something of a true passion for me because it serves the community of people who are not necessarily getting the jobs that they want or like the salaries that they deserve, but it also serves the hospitality industry, where I was telling you that there is this problem of not having enough people. So I'm bridging that gap, and so I feel really good about it. But yeah, in general, our foundation focuses on transformation of life, and so like deep interventions to make sure that people's lives are transformed for the better and sustainably through their life, not just for a little period of time.
How can kids like me make tourism better for the environment?
Oh, there's so many things that you guys can do. So the number one thing that I would say that we're having a problem with today on the planet is, of course, climate change. And, climate change is really impacting a lot of different destinations around the country. One of the problems that is associated with that is this idea of over-tourism. Have you heard of over-tourism?
Too much tourism going in certain places.
Yeah, so it's too much tourism going into certain destinations in too short a period of time. So let's say you want to go to Venice, right? Venice is a very famous example of this. Now, you can go maybe during the summer, but during the summer, the tourism in Venice is very, very, very heavy. And so the environmental impact that tourism has on that destination during that time is really, really not good. Now, so you may say, okay, you may talk to your parents and say, well, maybe we don't go during summertime, right? Which is when it's the most popular. Maybe we go during our winter break, when, okay, Venice is not as popular. It's not, maybe it is colder at that time, but you'll still get to see the city. You'll still get to have your experiences. And you'll still have a wonderful time with your family, but it's not necessarily putting that same load on that destination as you would be if you went during the peak time. So that's certainly one thing. I think the other thing is when you're traveling, ask questions, get to know the local culture, eat the local food, support the local businesses, don't necessarily go into like a brand that you recognize right away, but like maybe, shop or eat at brands that you don't know. And are very local and giving you that, that local experience. I think a lot of places, what I've found, especially places that don't get necessarily all that tourism, is that the people there really want you to become their advocates, right? So if you experience it, then the hope is that you'll go back to, your schools and you'll tell your friends, and maybe those families will go down. And so that's actually an issue of under tourism, right? Where there's like these cities that are not getting enough. So if you're experiencing the local authentic stuff, then that's much better for the economy there, and you become fans of that place and advocates. I think those are probably the two biggest things that I would say. And of course, like, be conscious, don't litter, carry your own bottle if you can, refill it. Don't buy plastic bottles everywhere if you can avoid that. And just be conscious of cultural contexts and local customs and things like that. Like, show respect. I think that's something that we can all afford more of in today's world, a bit of kindness, especially as we travel.
Thank you so much, and we loved having this exciting conversation with you.
Thank you for having me. It was wonderful to speak to you both.
Yeah, thank you so much. Well, that's it for this episode of Up Close and Personal Season 2. Ms. Shibulal's stewardship is what makes tourism around the world better for tourists and helps the earth stay in good shape. And thank you for watching this video, and stay tuned for upcoming episodes. Bye!